Okay, welcome back, everybody. It is 2023. It's been 2 months since I last posted, so let's get started.
Because the following podcast is scheduled for one fall. Ladies and gentlemen, weighing in at amazingly entertaining, I want to welcome to the ring the greatest, most technically sound podcast on the face of the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Wrestling with Wi-Fi. Tuning in right now.
All right, and just like that, we will get back to business, right? Probably a short one. Don't honestly have too much to say right now, but it's recording on the 2nd of February, so I apologize. It was a busy holiday season. Had some illness around the house, and usual Christmas, New Year's, work, etc. Life happens. Part of which is my segue. So it's February. It's February 2nd. We're about to be. Actually, today's February 1st. I lied, but it'll be posted on the 2nd. February 3rd, I'm flying out to Phoenix, and that is for the start of WLPC, which has been occupying a lot of my time over the last couple months in particular. And now, if you're listening and you don't know, and if you don't know, I don't know how you don't know, because you're listening to me and it's a Wi-Fi podcast. But anyways, WLPC boot camps are this weekend, and I somehow or other am teaching one. So I will be out there for the Ruckus RCWA boot camp. Ruckus is my employer, so I'm teaching my first one of those. Should be fun, small class, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so I'll be out there starting Friday if everything goes according to schedule, and we'll be out there through the end of the show, which everybody packs up and heads home on Thursday. So if you're looking for me, if you want to meet, if you want to say hi, please do. I look kind of sort of like my picture on my Twitter, I think. Probably a little bit chubbier by now, but chances are I'm either going to be wearing a Ruckus shirt or an Eagle shirt, because Philadelphia kid gotta root for the home team and in the Super Bowl. So anyways, so that's kind of the immediate news, right? So this is going to go out tomorrow. I fly Friday. Everybody's going to be there next week. I've got a couple hundred stickers if anybody wants one. Come see me. Come say hi. We've only got like 10 or 15 listeners, so hopefully we make some new friends in the WLPC community by next week. But anyways, can't do that if I don't have recording. So we did 10 episodes last year. So this is actually episode 11. So I want to thank everybody for listening, whoever did. Appreciate it. I know there were some bumps in the road in the beginning, getting started. But, we're here. We kicked it off. I will admit, none of my goals that I was setting last year came to fruition. I'm definitely not going to be weighing in where I wanted to be. Not even close. But new year, new goals. And I was talking to Chris Evans, who's going to be there as well and doing some really interesting stuff. So I'm going to give him a little bit of a plug because Chris is a friend. Chris does a lot of good things for the community, and he's doing he's been on the whole hacking health kick, which is something Dave Kennedy and others have been promoting on Twitter and other social media. And Chris has gotten into it and is really looking to be in phenomenal shape, and is actually doing some lifting and stuff in the mornings for those of you crazy enough to get up early after a night of whatever. But he's also brought in Ben Canning from, I believe, Ireland, flew him in for the event to hang out with us and try to help us get a little bit healthier in the new year. And even though it is the second month of the year, it's still the new year. So it is what it is. So maybe I can finally turn over the leaf and get started, because it's the fourth business trip I've had in the last 18 months, and I keep on having to buy different clothes, and I hate that. But anyways, personal rant over. I am looking forward to it. I got to tell you, I think as we've eased out of the pandemic a little bit more, and there's been more travel, I think it's getting a little bit more resembling quote unquote normal, or what normal was. It's a little bit different for me. Normal for me pre-pandemic was I worked in an enterprise job, carpeted enterprise space, had, numerous office buildings that we were supporting, was part of a team of 6 or so engineers, and, it was a very different world for me. And 2020, 2020, see, time flies. I changed gears and jumped from NBC to Ruckus, and completely different thing, going to the vendor space, going to become a sales engineer, systems engineer. I use them interchangeably. I'm not really sure what the SE stands for, but whatever. I joke, but different world for me, right? So coming back to the normal for me is not really the normal it was. But getting out to be able to see the customers is great. Being in person is a good thing, and it's starting to get into a more regular cadence, I think, than it was even last year, right? I'm not going to be the big brother kind of guy, but again, at the end of the day, it's still the winter flu is out there, COVID is out there. I'm recovered finally from a nasty little week-long bug, and my kids have all had it or going through it. So, and we're getting the alerts and all that from school, so it's all fun. But, stay safe, be smart. But, we can get back together, and, definitely looking forward to next week. There's some really interesting looking talks that have been pitched and got voted in. I actually sort of lucked into one. One of my peers couldn't go, and so I'll be doing a talk on WPA3 with a little bit of a ruckus twist without being too ruckusy because it's the 10 talk. And I think I'm honestly more terrified about my 10 talk than my RCWA boot camp, which tells you all you need to know about me and speaking in front of 350 people as opposed to giving a class in front of 5. Imposter syndrome is a real thing, and I will never ever get over that. But anyways, I don't have the list in front of me, and I'm not going to look it up right now because I'm going to be just shooting from the hip or lazy. Take your pick. But I know there's a few big ones we've got. I know Jim Palmer has a 55-minute talk. I think I can't even remember who else, but I know that UC's got one. I'm sure there's a couple other big ones that I'm forgetting. I think Peter McKenzie's got a good talk. I think he's one of the 55s as well. So some of the new, the notable names that everybody knows are back and doing bigger talks. And but there's some interesting ones. There's a drone one that I'm curious about. There's definitely going to be a lot more discussing Wi-Fi 6E, WPA3, 7 even. I think there's a couple talks about Wi-Fi 7 because it's coming, right? AFC is should be right around the corner, and Wi-Fi 7 will be out by the end of the year probably. I mean, I think we've already seen at CES some Wi-Fi 7 devices unveiled in the consumer space, but speaking from an enterprise perspective, not giving away any trade secrets or anything like that, but I mean, I think a lot of the vendors are eyeballing the end of the year. That seems to be, the speculation from a lot of the trade sheets that I've seen and a lot of the, the in the know tech forums and stuff. So whether that means we'll have it in our hands or not, who knows? Hopefully it won't take us as long to get some 7 clients as it did with 6E. I personally just got my first 6E client a couple months ago because I finally got my first 6E AP a couple months ago. Without clients, there's not really a point. Obviously, 6E clients can work on 7, but you know what I mean. So that's kind of, it should be an exciting year. I think a lot more emphasis is going to go on software, AI, ML, the usual buzzwords. But I think, and I said this before I had even switched to the vendor, but I think, one of the things the last couple of years has taught us as engineers, as Wi-Fi people, and just tech in general is, especially as budgets got tight, and now, especially with budgets still getting tight, do more with less. How can you squeeze a little bit more life out of your APs, your clients, whatever. So there's going to be a lot of that, I think, and I think there's some talks and some. I think there's even some deep dives that are around kind of optimizing and troubleshooting and gathering of metrics, understanding metrics. And if there's not, there were, and they didn't get voted in, which is unfortunate. But I think that's a way that I can see my the next 11 months unfolding for the rest of 2023 is as much as we're going to be deploying new gear. I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis on making the existing deployment work better without necessarily doing anything other than tweaking and adjusting and quote unquote turning the nerd knobs. And that's important. I mean, I think at the end of the day, you deploy an expensive enterprise solution, you're talking about a huge investment, and you want to get 3, 4, 5 or more years out of it. And I'm sure there's some corporate finance people that are looking at it and saying, well, we really didn't use them in 2021 and probably barely in 2022. Let's extend the life of these. Not that that really matters. I mean, it's all no moving parts in an AP, and they don't really, well, unless you put them in a bad environment, they don't tend to fail too much. At least my experience with a number of different vendors has been pretty rock solid there. So, anyways. So I think it's interesting. Going back to Chris and going back to 2023, maybe I'll try and grab him when I'm in Phoenix, or have him on after the fact. But we definitely want to sit down and talk, goals in terms of personal and professional goals. I think that's a good thing. He pitched the topic, so it makes sense. I think I haven't done any of them for this year. Just never got around to it. Never really thought to do it until I'm talking about it now, but. Definitely curious. Post them on the Twitter if you want. Very curious to see what are you looking forward to in 2023, personal, professional, achievements, goals, objectives, tech that's coming or your hope is coming other than Wi-Fi 7. I took that, sorry. It's my show, I get to go first. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm at. Sorry, it wasn't much of an agenda. It's only going to be it looks like about a 15-minute episode, but I wanted to get something out there and, say Happy New Year a month late. Apologies for the 2-month downtime. I will do better to try and get back to that once every other week cadence. Also, not the only reason, not even a real reason, but if you want to hear me more, for whatever reason, along with Mr. Palmer, we do co-host the Ruckcast, RUCKCAST, which is the Ruckus podcast. And we've I took it over last year, and we kind of really rebooted it. I guess at the beginning of this year we started, and we've already done our every other week cadence twice. So we did get 2 episodes out in January. We'll be recording, hopefully a bunch in Phoenix, and keeping the content to an every other Thursday release. So this is our off Thursday tomorrow, which means I'll be recording something hopefully this weekend and dropping it on next Thursday as we all get ready to fly home from Phoenix. If everything goes according to plan, we'll see. But I'll close on that note. If you see me in Phoenix, say hi. If you're new and I don't know you, say hi. Don't be a stranger. Don't think I'm nobody. At the end of the day, I've got a podcast because I can pay the hosting fee and have the gear, but that doesn't mean anything. I'm not, anybody you can't talk to. So say hi. If I'm with somebody or if I'm talking to somebody, hang around at the side or just, chime in, unless it's a heated debate and you don't want to get in the middle of it. But, don't feel bad. And I echo that for everybody out there. I think there's a lot of us who've done a number of these conferences, and there's probably, I would think, if the ratio holds, it's usually about a third of us are new every show, or maybe it's a little bit less now, but I know of a few newbies who know people, and I'm sure there's other new people who know people from Slack and Twitter but haven't met in real life. Don't be afraid to say hi. Don't be afraid to chime in with, or just listen in. I mean, I remember my first WLPC, and this is going 6 years ago at this point. I was a sponge, man. I would just would sit and listen and chime in a little bit, but mostly I met people and I talked. Didn't really talk. I listened. And the next time I went back, you knew people, and it was just a completely different experience. But you have to, if you're comfortable with it, say hi, and don't be afraid. I'm I'm a nobody. I'm very, I think, self-deprecating, and looking forward to meeting new people. So by all means. And on that note, I am going to tap out of this one, just over the 15-minute mark, and I probably won't chop too much down because I'm going to be lazy. But if you're in Phoenix, say hi. I'm looking forward to it. If not, well, I'm sure we'll catch up at some point. So everybody have a great night, and I will see you next week.